Welcome back, Sober Family. This is another episode of Recovery Talk brought to you by Pro Recovery Power. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate all you guys' support. Hope everybody's having a great Saturday. And hope everybody enjoyed the last live at noon with Anthony. He had a really powerful story to tell. But I have Rashad coming on next. He's going live with me to tell his story. Really excited about this one. I heard bits and pieces of it. I don't want to, tell his story for him, but he has a powerful story to tell. I'll let him tell it. But just want to talk a sec. I still have been getting messages and some people, asking, what you guys are, this, that. Some people still got a question mark as to what Pro Recovery Power really is and what we're doing and everything like that. So my wife and I are in the process of turning Pro Recovery Power into a nonprofit organization to really help people on a massive scale, give back to the community, help other people, give away what was so freely given to me. In order for me to keep what I got, I have to give it away. And I understand that. But so just to so everybody knows, I talk about it a lot more now. But let's see. Hey, you guys. What's up, Marty? Hey, guys. How's it going? So let me get Rashad in here. We can get this party started. What up?
Hey, what up? What's up?
There he is. What's up, brother?
How you doing, man? I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's good to finally see you,
Good to be seen. Good to see you as well.
Oh, you're an Eagles fan, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. How's your day going, bro? Oh, dang. You're an Eagles fan.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going pretty well. I woke up this morning. I got to clean up my apartment after my girl left, and I did some yoga this morning. Took a nap. I know you took a cat nap today too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
took a nap, and I'm at work right now, actually, at the rehab.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we'll get into that and everything. I'm really excited, man, because I know little bits and pieces and some highlights of your story. Hey, Blair, there's Blair. You know Blair, right?
Yeah.
The bright actress. Yeah, she's here. Hey, what's up, Blair? Thanks for connecting us. But before we get started and you tell your story, I just want to ask you a few questions. The first question is, how long have you been sober?
It's going on 3 years, 4 months. It's 3 years, 3 months, and like 20-something days. Yeah, thank you.
Congrats, man. That's a big deal, bro.
Yeah.
I remember,
it was hard. I couldn't even get 3 weeks before.
Yeah. I remember like 3 days I couldn't get sober,
Sometimes.
Yeah, man. Okay, congratulations, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And where are you from?
I'm from New Britain, Connecticut, actually.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, and I've actually spent time out in California. My dad lives out in San Diego, and I got family in San Diego, in the Bay Area too. So.
Oh, okay, all right. You ever come out here?
Yeah, my summers, which is part of my story, I'll share that with you too. But I used to spend every other summer out there with my father.
Okay. All right, cool. And then, what was your choice in drink and or drug?
It was definitely alcohol was my main thing, vodka. But I was a smorgasbord. I did cocaine, heroin, Molly, and e-pills, all that stuff.
All right. Oh, vodka. They can't smell that. They can't smell it.
They lied to me.
They lied to me, man. That was my drink too, actually. Vodka for like the last 10 years.
Yeah.
That's all I drank.
Yeah. Destroyed my insides.
Yeah. Well, well, thank you, bro. So before we get to your story, real quick, guys, I want to let everybody know. Thank you guys so much for joining and supporting us. I would ask if you guys please could go to our website, prorecoverypower.com. On the bottom right-hand corner, it's like a little circle with a pencil. It's a questionnaire survey, and that I talked about earlier about Pro Recovery Power, what we are, what we're becoming, and that will really help move the vision forward and see how we can track our progress, how we can improve and move this vision forward. So if you guys could do that, I really appreciate it. Also, guys, every Wednesday night, Pacific Standard Time at 7, we have a recovery meeting, the Pro Recovery Power Hour. It's like a speaker participation meeting. It's mainly geared toward drugs and alcohol, but if you got a sex addiction, overeating, you got a gambling problem, you're also welcome to join as well. So thank you guys so much. And then somebody said Anthony connected him here. Thank you so much for joining us. What's up, Charlie B? What's up, bro? Sorry, I normally don't even pay attention to these things when I go live, man. It's just funny. But without further ado, I give you the floor, bro, to tell your story.
All right. So I've told my story a few times before, and I still get kind of nervous telling it for some reason, but
Yeah.
here I go. So I was born in New Britain, Connecticut. Born and raised. It's right outside the city of Hartford, which is like at one point was like our murder capital. So I'm like right there. I grew up in the projects. Both my parents grew up in the projects. My father's actually from Hartford, Connecticut. Um, and my mother's from New Britain. And two different projects, obviously, but they have the same mentality as they were growing up. My father, when I was born, was a very heavy cocaine dealer, and it turned into a crack dealer as well. As I guess crack got more popular or whatever. And yeah, so I grew up in a pretty it was semi-stable, but it was just a lot of things around me that shouldn't have been. Which like my father, like I said, he sold drugs, so he had a whole bunch of people he was selling to, like cleaning our house. He used to have people clean our house and give them coke in order for them to clean it and payment. And there's just a lot of parties, a lot of poker nights at the table with beer and people go outside smoking weed. So like I knew the smell of weed when I was younger, which is funny because when I got older, I used to smell it, and I'm like, that's what my father always smelled like. That's what his friends always smelled like when they came over. So it was just like it was real familiar. But yeah. So I grew up the child of a real big drug dealer. He supplied like my city in New Britain and part of Hartford, and so I was around all that. And starting young, I remember at the parties, like everybody would leave or be passed out, and I would pick up like the beers on the table and like take a few sips of them. And I didn't really like it, but it was just because the grown-ups were doing it, so I figured like, hey, it must be fun, you know. And then around that time, one of my mother's brother died. My uncle, he had a drug addiction as well. It runs in my family. And at the age of 22, he had took my grandmother's car to go buy drugs, and then driving back home, he dropped a cigarette, flipped his car, and broke his neck, and was paralyzed. And then through his while he was paralyzed, he fell further into addiction, and then it led to him eventually dying. He had a brain aneurysm in his sleep, actually, and that was big for me because he's real close to me when I was young. So I lost a big male figure in my life, but I still had my dad at that point. And then like maybe 7, 8, maybe 9 months later, my house got raided when
Oh,
I was
wow.
yeah, I was like 4.5 years old. I remember my house got raided, and I remember it vividly. I remember laying on my father's back watching TV, and then I heard do 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 do. Then I heard do 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 do, and it was the SWAT team coming up both steps in the back and the front and the back. And then they just bursted the door open. I peed all over myself. I'm screaming, crying, guns all on my face, and
Whoa.
yeah. So that was the last time I had my father in the house, actually. So he ended up going to jail, and a whole bunch of stuff happened. And when he did eventually get out, he moved to California, and that's kind of where my substance use started. So by third grade, I was 8 years old, and I was going to go visit my father in San Diego for the first time, and I didn't really have much of a relationship with him because I was young when he left, and all I had was like my super toddler memories or whatever, like super young memories. So I just went out there, me and one of my cousins, and I spent that summer with him. And I remember that was the first time I actually got drunk. So the first time I drank was because of him, because of the beers on the table and stuff. But the first time I got drunk, he actually got me drunk as a parent.
Hmm.
And I didn't see anything wrong with it because it's my father. You know, my father's
Right.
letting me drink it. So I remember he poured a cup. It was like half of it was Hennessy, the other half was Pepsi, and I drank the whole thing. And I remember thinking I was acting like a baby. I was like crawling around like wah wah wah. And then I got older, and I'm like, holy shit, I was wasted. I was just drunk. And and that proceeded. I went to go visit him every summer after that, and every summer I went to go visit him. I just drank, and I just started to be more. He'd go to the store. At this point, I'm 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, and he'll go to the store like, I'm gonna get a beer. You want one? Hell yeah, I want a beer. I'm in
Yeah.
California. I'm with my dad. Like, hell, this is the way we're gonna bond, right? And so that kept going until like ninth grade. That was the last time I went to go visit. And by that point, ninth grade, that summer after ninth grade, it was a wrap because that whole the first half of freshman year, I was okay, we were drinking once in a while at school. We're bringing liquor to lunch and put it in our bottles. But then the second half of the school year, I started smoking weed and I started drinking like every weekend, going to parties with my boys. And I was hanging with a lot of older kids because I had lost my uncle and lost my dad in my life. So I was looking up to a lot of the kids in the projects that were older than me for guidance and for anything. They taught me how to fight. They taught me how to play sports, football, basketball, everything, and about girls and how to be a man. So that was the ideal that I had set for me. And so they were always drinking. They were 17, 18 years old. I'm 13, 14 years old, and I'm just drinking with them and then drinking and smoking. And it stayed like that till my sophomore year. And then sophomore year was definitely every weekend, maybe one day during the week. And then junior year was a few times during the week drinking. But I was smoking every day at that point too, smoking weed. And by senior, so I ended up doing 5 years in high school because girls and weed and alcohol and parties. I was just busy being popular. I went to a school of 3,000 students, and I was like the guy. So I and it's funny because even when I was in addiction, I used to think of that 50 Cent song when he said, "Damn, homie, in high school you was the man, homie," because like I really was the man. And then at one point I was homeless, a bum on the street with nothing, you know. So yeah. So it progressed to my second senior year. It got really bad. I was really drinking heavy, like 3 times a week. I would drink in school often, every single weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Take a shot in the morning to try to wake up, and then I finally graduated, and I had gotten a job, and then I got my then girlfriend pregnant, who I was with since like my junior year of high school, but I like was cheating on her through the whole thing because I was drinking and partying and just focused on me, you know, being selfish like we are in addiction. And so I got my high school girlfriend pregnant, and after we had the baby, I had gotten a really good job at a hospital in my city, and actually the one I was born at, and things were looking up, or so I thought, but I didn't realize how bad my drinking had gotten because I was drinking like all the time. I was drinking after work. I go to the bar by myself and sit at the bar and not think anything wrong with it. Like I'm just gonna go finish watching the game and just be an adult because I have my own apartment now. My kids and my girls at the house, and I got a good job, and I'm paying for everything, so I deserve to go to the bar to work every night.
Yeah, right.
So it just kept getting bad. The reason we moved in together was because she wanted me to stop drinking, and that didn't really work. And I just kept doing what I was doing. So I was cheating, and I was talking to a bunch of other girls, and I started doing cocaine at that point. So I would get out of work, and instead of going to the bar to drink, I'd go to the block and do coke with everybody, and be up all night, and get home at like 3 in the morning, get cussed out, and all this stuff. So me and her ended up breaking up because she caught me cheating, of course. And the person I was cheating with wanted to be with me, and she was actually in Arizona at that point. And I was like, well, fuck it. Since my girl doesn't want to be with me now, I'm gonna be with this girl. So she flew out to live with me in Arizona. I mean, from Arizona, and we ended up getting pregnant like 4 months after she moved back, and I was still in love with my ex, and I was just devastated. Like I was trapped, and I was drinking even more. And at this point, like I said, I was doing coke, and I think heroin came into the mix at that point, and it was just bad. I was just tormenting myself with these thoughts and just racing negative thoughts about where I'm at right now and who I'm with and who I don't want to be with, and I'm stuck, and I got a baby on the way, and I got no money because I'm blowing it all on drugs and stuff, and like at that point, I had gotten a lawsuit from a car accident for like $12,000. It was 20,000, but I ended up with 12, and I blew that $12,000 in 4 months, and I just didn't understand how I did it, and so it just kept progressing, and the drugs and everything got heavier and heavier, and I remember I was throwing up blood one day, and I had no idea why. Go figure, and I went to the hospital, and they were gonna keep me overnight and do an endoscopy the next day or something. And I remember I was like itching and I was shaking and I felt crazy. And I remember asking the nurse like, "What's going on with me?" And then she like stopped and she was like, "How much do you drink?" And I was like, "Shit, do I gotta answer that in my head?" And I'm like, I think I'm like every day. And she's like, "You're going through withdrawals, honey." And I'm like, "What the hell is withdrawals?" I didn't even know what the hell they were. I'm 22 years old, you know. And I'm the man. I got my own apartment. I got a nice car. I got my girl. You know, so I'm like, what the withdrawal? She's like, you're an addict, and I was like, whoa. So that was like the first eye-opening experience. Me coming into understanding that I had issues, and then I just looked back at my family history, and it was just like, holy shit. But I didn't want to admit it at that point. So I went on working for like 2 more months, and I ended up going to a rave, and I had popped Molly, a E pill, and some whole bunch of dumb shit, and I ended up overdosing that night, and I was in the ER, and that didn't even change anything. But
Mhm.
so the next day, I go to work and I get fired.
Oh,
In the middle of all this shit, I'm like, okay. So I had a job waiting for me at the Yukon Health Center, University of Yukon, the health center over here, and it was like it's a state job, and I was gonna have it all. Like this is it, you know.
mhm. Mhm.
Forget that old job. Like I can make it work now, and so I ended up going. It was suggested for me to go to detox. So I went to my first detox in January 2014, and I kind of liked it. It was weird. Like I felt safe there, so it felt like a good environment. And I got out of the detox, and I thought it was I thought it was like rehab. Like I just came back from rehab. I went to rehab for 5 days, and I thought I was saved. You know, I'm like,
Uh-huh.
yes, I'm good now. I haven't had nothing in 5 days. Like I've never gone 5 days. And then I relapsed like a week later, and I kept lying to my family about work. I told them that I just stopped working there, and I got this job waiting for me at UConn still. So I sorry.
No worries.
So yeah, so I went to the detox. I got out. I relapsed, and then I ended up going to another detox February 2014, and then I got hired at the Yukon Health Center actually, and I was going for my orientation, and I called them to reschedule because of the snow, but I was really just withdrawn, and
Wow.
I had to go drink, and I couldn't make it. So they said I could postpone it. Then they called me back like 2 days later and said that they had to cancel my hire because I'm unreliable. So that's
Wow.
when it spiraled. I didn't know what to do with myself. I had no income coming in. I just lost two good jobs technically, and
Mhm.
I had a baby. My daughter was only like 7 months old at the point, and my son was 3. So it was like, what the hell am I gonna do with myself? So I just started drinking even, drinking even more coke, and that's when I really started doing heroin. So to make it that year short, I ended up going to 12 detoxes in 10 months, and
Mhm.
then my girl left me because of my behaviors and everything I was doing, and she ended up cheating in retaliation to what I was doing. Then took my daughter to Arizona, so I was just devastated. I had nothing, and all I had left was my car and my apartment, and I was losing my apartment because my grandmother was helping me pay for it, and she was sick of doing it because I had no job.
Mhm.
So then I went to rehab. I ran away from all my responsibilities. I had my family clean up my apartment, go grab everything from me because I didn't want to even have to deal with it. So I went to my first rehab, October 2014, after 12 detoxes in 10 months. And then I got out. I signed up for college there for social science because I wanted to be a counselor because I figured after a whole year of detoxes, I could be a counselor now, you know? And it didn't work. I relapsed maybe like a month after that, and then I did 2 semesters of college, drunk, completely drunk and on drugs and hungover, and oh, it was terrible. But somehow I had a 3.7 GPA. They say a lot of us addicts are smart. I'm like, damn, if I would have did that sober, I would have been, I don't know. But yeah, so I did the college thing, and as I was working college, well, as I was in college, I maintained to not go back to a detox for a while, maybe like 6 months, and then I got hired at a group home, and right before I got to start for the group home, I was like, let me go to detox real quick before I start, so I can be good to start working, you know,
Uh-huh.
and so this was 2015, and I got the job, and I was still in school, but I was still drinking, and I was just hiding it a little bit, and that's when Xanax came into play for me. I started doing Xanax a lot. I got hooked on Xanax because I heard in detox that it's the same thing as the Ativan that they give you to
Uh-huh.
withdraw off of alcohol. So I started trying to withdraw myself every 3 days off of alcohol. So I'm buying Xanax to withdraw, and I'm like, oh well, I got like 6 left, so I'm gonna drink tonight, and then take it in the morning and start tomorrow. And then I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh well, I got 6 left still, so I'm gonna just drink now and then pop one before I go to sleep so I can start my detox. And it was just like a cycle. I just kept doing that over and over
Yeah.
again until I got addicted to damn Xanax. And then now I'm fighting the both worst withdrawals that you could have at the same time for a while. And that's what eventually led me to I ended up I was going through DTs at one of the detoxes I went to, and then my blood pressure went up and my heart rate went up, and I ended up going to a coma for 3 days. And
Wow.
yeah, and I was in ICU. Yeah, I was in ICU for like 6 days, but I was out for 3 days, and that didn't even deter me. I got out, and I think I started drinking like a week later, and
Huh.
that's when I really knew that I had a really bad problem, because like I just almost died from not drinking.
Hmm.
Imagine what the drinking's actually doing to me, you know?
Right.
So yeah, 2015 I'm working at group homes, and then I get comfortable with the group home, and I end up drinking there, and I'm working with people who drink on a regular basis, so I felt like it was kind of accepted. I was just drinking. I was sniffing coke at the group home. I would pop Molly to stay up on third shift. I would sniff coke to stay up on third shift, and then drink when I got home, working 19-hour shifts, and it was bad. And then I ended up working for 2 jobs at the same time in the middle of addiction. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. I would wake up, go to work so sick, and just make it through the day, sniff like half a Xanax bar just to try to make it through before. And it was bad. I did some really bad things working for the company, and it doesn't bother me now because I made my amends, but it was really shitty things that I did. Really neglectful things that I did for the clients. But I'm a much better person now, so I feel a lot better. But yeah, so towards the end of that group home stint, it was just bad. I ended up going to another rehab at the end of that. That was December 2016. I did really well there. I loved it. I got out. I stayed clean for 3 months, and that was my longest stint of being clean. 3 months at that point, and oh, and then my best friend slash cousin got in a car accident. I mean, a dirt bike accident, broke his neck, and he was paralyzed from. He was. They were told we were told he was gonna be paralyzed from the neck down, but he ended up getting movement in his arms, and it was just the waist down. But that really devastated me, and I just relapsed after those 3 months. I just threw it all away because I was just like I didn't know how to handle it still, and
Hmm.
at the same time I wasn't ready then. As I
Right.
see now in hindsight, I see I wasn't ready, you know. But so then I went to rehab again after that for summer. I mean for a month. I think it was June, summer 17, and I got out of rehab again and started working at a school as a behavior tech. And same thing. I'm doing heroin. I'm popping Molly the night before. I'm up all night going to the school exhausted, smelling like liquor, popping gum in my mouth all day, going to the liquor store down the street to go get a shot or two to walk back in the school and work with middle school kids. Like
Hmm.
it was insane. So and then this I'm creeping up on the end of my addiction. I mean, there's a lot of other things in there that I can throw in, but it would be here all day, you know. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah. So towards the end of it, I remember I was working at the school, and it was February, and my Eagles were in the Super Bowl.
Uh,
It was February 2018. So my Eagles are playing really well. We're going to the Super Bowl. We just won against the Vikings in the NFC Championship. And the day before the Super Bowl, or the weekend of the Super Bowl, was Friday. That Friday night I went out, but that Saturday morning at like 2 in the morning, I'm driving back from a town like 10 minutes from mine, and I was on a. I did so much coke that night. I drank way more than I needed to, which was most nights. And I had my brother out with me driving around, and I guess I had blacked out while we were out there, and I somehow had a designated driver who I didn't even know, and I snapped out of it at one point, and I'm like, she goes in the store, and I ask my brother, I'm like, yo, who the hell is this girl? He's like, oh, that's your designated driver for the night. I'm like, who is she? He's like, oh, that's cool. I know her. I know her. So I'm like, fuck. And I just got an urge to want to go home. And I'm like, yeah, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. And I'm fucking wasted. And so I hop in my driver's seat. My brother's like, Rashad, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And I just put it in reverse. And before I can pull out, my brother jumped out the car. And I didn't even know he jumped out the car. That's how I wasn't even thinking about like my little brother. Like, what did I
Yeah.
just do? So I left. I left my brother and that girl at the gas station with no way to go anywhere. And I took off, and my brother told me it was like 7 minutes later. He just seen ambulance and fire trucks and cops riding down that street because it was a on ramp to a highway.
Oh.
And so I had flipped my car over going 80 miles per hour. I crashed head on into a cement median, flipped my car. Luckily, I'm very good with putting my seatbelt on because I put my seatbelt on in the middle of a blackout, and that
Uh-huh.
saved my life. Um, I flipped my car over. I remember climbing out the back window, not even thinking I was on a highway, and I just laid there on the ground, just like I was waiting to get hit by something. And
Uh-huh. Wow.
yeah, so then my brother finds out what happened. Call my mom, like, oh mom, I think Rashad's dead, which is like, why would you call your mother and say that you think your brother's dead? But but like you could have just said I had gotten in a car accident. Yes, but he heard it flipped over, so he was scared. But so I had gone to the hospital that night. I walked away with bruising, a concussion, and whiplash, and minor injuries because I was drunk, and
Right.
so the alcohol prevented me from getting seriously injured, but the alcohol caused me to get in an accident. So like it, it, but so they asked me if I wanted to go to detox that day in the ER, and I said no, hell no. My Eagles play in the Super Bowl tomorrow. What the hell do I look like going to rehab?
Uh-huh.
And like unfortunately, my mom agreed. Like, oh no, his Eagles are playing. He has to be there. Like after she just almost lost him before my Eagles played. But
Right.
yeah. So uh, we won the Super Bowl, and I celebrated that for a whole month. You can imagine what that was. It was just,
Yeah.
and I had no car this time, so I was just like, I was celebrating and I was miserable because that was my last possession that I had was my car, and it was gone now. So I was finding myself walking to the package stores, and I mean, throughout my whole addiction, I was stealing liquor from package stores and stuff. But now this time, I'm like stealing stuff and trying to run away from the package store, looking crazy, and everybody in my city knows me. So and I've talked to people recently, and they're just like, Rashad, I used to pick you up, and I just like was disgusted. You just smelled like liquor. You looked like you didn't know what you were doing with yourself. Um, yeah, so that whole month I went on a super binge, and then one night my cousin who's in recovery and his twin sister, who are my mom's ages, and my mom sat me down in the living room. They gave me like a little intervention, which
Mhm.
they didn't need to give me much because at that point I was already ready. Like I was like, I gotta go. Like I have nothing now, like literally nothing. I have no relationship with my kids. I have no car, no apartment. I'm sleeping couch to couch. It's been 4 years of this, and I still haven't gotten anywhere. I'm like, this is it. I got to do it. So
Mhm.
I agreed with them, and like I was telling you off the air,
Mhm.
I had gone to my last detox, and I was used to going into detox with a blood alcohol level of 0.5 or higher,
Mhm.
so 50% alcohol in my blood or more.
Yeah.
So by that point, and I was on so much Xanax that like when I started withdrawing, I would start to withdraw. My blood alcohol was a 0.32, which most people would be sick at. But
Yeah.
I was sick from not having a higher level. So
Right.
um, I started, and they would start to get violent towards that point. So they had to rush me from the detox to Yale New Haven Hospital out here in Connecticut, and I stayed there for 10 days. They ended up finding out I had a liver injury. They thought I had fatty liver disease, but they found out that I was just like this close or whatever. But they were telling me I was 27 at that point, and they were like, you're not gonna make it past 30 if you keep doing what you're doing. And it scared me, but I was already ready.
Yeah.
So I got rushed to Yale, and like I said, 10 days. They did all that, and I was just that whole 10 days I was in there. I was just like planning on what I wanted to do with my life, and I came to um, the rehab. I got to the rehab. It was my first 90-day program that I've ever done. They were all 30 days before that, but this was my
Mhm.
first 90 day because I felt like this is what I needed, and so I got here. This is actually my job now. This is where I work at the rehab. I and yeah, I got here, and I just wanted to actually focus and listen and do everything I need to do. I need to work on tolerance. I need to work on my patience. I need to work on
Mhm.
my mindfulness, my
Mhm.
spirituality. I need to work on my fitness, my nutrition. And I did that, and then I made plans for the future. I wanted to work at a gym when I had left. I wanted to buy a new car because I had lost mine. I wanted to get my recovery coach certificate. I wanted to begin preparations for writing a book, and there's a bunch of things that I want to do, and
Mhm.
I just focused on those while I was in rehab, and I left rehab and I actually did all of those things that
Mhm.
I had planned, and I'm just like so proud of everything that I've done. I've really utilized everything that I learned throughout the years that I suffered, and
Mhm.
I incorporated into my recovery, and I help people in my area, and I talk to people on a regular basis. I recovery coach people. I Like I said, I just published a book a month ago, Sui
Mhm.
Generis. It's on Amazon actually. If you type my name, Rashad Walser, it's on there. My little plug. But yeah. So like, and I just live in my recovery now. My clients see it. My clients love it. I talk to them when I'm doing intakes, and I'm like, yeah, I was a client here 3 years ago, and they're like, you're still clean. You got clean from here. Oh my God! Like, what did you do? How did you do it?
Yeah.
That's inspirational. I can't believe it. I want to be
Uh,
like you one day. Like I can't believe that I got people who are 40, 50, 60 years old. I'm 30 years old and they're telling me they look up to me as inspiration. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm doing this right.
yeah.
You know? So, I
Uh-huh.
mean, yeah, that's my story in short. It could be
Uh-huh.
a lot longer, like I said, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to mess up anybody's,
It's
I
all
know.
good. Yeah, but hey, thank you, man, for sharing that. I got to hear the whole. I know, I got bits and pieces when we was talking on the phone earlier and everything. I was really excited to hear it. It's in its entirety, and man, it's amazing, man. Like, what we were like, the things we did, because like, I could relate to you a lot, bro. Like, I remember I was increasing my life insurance policy at one point, and they got to draw blood, for it. So they drew blood, and then they asked me if I wanted something like the results back of it. I normally would say no, but then I was like, okay. And it was sent to me later, and I look like it's a picture of the human body, and I mean pretty much every area was good, and then it got to my liver, and it was bright red, bro. It was bright
Ouch.
red, and I was like maybe 26. This was like almost 10 years ago. You know,
Mm,
I've been sober for 4 though, but I remember thinking to
congrats.
myself like situations like that where where fear could have been instilled in me, like, oh man, this should stop me from doing what I'm doing. Psh, it never did.
Nah, you just
It
gotta be
just like
ready.
it was a fear, but the urge and then the insanity of the drinking and using just overpowered it, like no problem, just like
Mm.
landslide victory for drugs and alcohol. you know um and real quick, what was the name of the book again?
Oh, it's Sui Generis, actually. SUI space GERNERIS, right? I think GENERIS. Yeah, generous.
Okay,
Or
yeah, I
you
just
can just
wanted
type
to
in
ask
my
my
name. Or
oh,
if
just type
anybody
in your name.
that's listening, yeah, you can type in Rashad Walser, WALSER is my last name, and it
Uh,
should pop right up.
okay, awesome. So you in total, how many rehabs did you go to?
Total eight. Eight
Eight?
rehabs.
Okay,
Yep.
eight. And so you've been through eight rehabs, because there's some people who may watch this in the future, people who are on right now,
Yeah.
that they've gone to 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, 20.
Yeah.
So what was it about that eighth one that stuck for you?
I was just tired, and I was ready. I was actually ready to surrender. I I was looking at my kids, and I just realized that I'm gonna miss the rest of their childhood. I'm not gonna be able to see them grow. They're gonna be 14, 15 years old, and I'm like, damn, where did the time go? What did I do as a father?
Right.
You know. But for the main thing, I just wanted to get myself right because I knew what I was capable of. Like I
Hmm.
said, I just published a book. I'm doing trainings. I'm learning. And I know I'm an intelligent person. I just limited myself throughout my whole addiction, and I
Right.
hindered my my horizon. My horizon was like down here, but now like
Yeah.
sky's the limit. But
Right.
yeah, like I knew I was capable of it. I knew it. Like I knew it. I knew I had that strength. I
Hmm.
always had some sort of resolve, and as you know, us addicts we're really resilient. Like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
you have to be, you know.
Yeah.
So I knew it was in me, and I felt like I was done. Like I'm not trying to die at 31, 32 years old from alcohol.
Hmm.
My
Yeah.
grandfather died in his early 50s, and I just don't want to follow that. I want to be an
Yeah.
example to people.
Absolutely.
And I've always been somebody who's led or helped people, so I figured like this is my avenue now. I found my calling. The first, like I said, the first rehab I went to, I signed up for college to be a counselor. Like, but I
Yeah.
wasn't ready then. Like, so I know where I
Yeah.
knew where I needed to be. I just didn't know how to get there.
Yeah, I can really identify with you, and very similar, because I mean I have so much things going on. I started writing the book, but like man, I had too much stuff on my plate. Eventually I will, that will happen. But like you're talking about, like your calling, potential, purpose, like addiction just hindered and just stopped me from all these things that was put in me, by
Yeah,
God, all these things. And because the graveyard took many people that we'll never see, like different, whatever it could be, inventions or gifts and talents and things like that. But I'm so happy for you, bro. I'm so happy for you that you know now you're living it, that life you knew you could live, all of that stuff, man. You're doing it. It's not a theory. It's not a it might happen. Like, it's happening. And that is prime example of what recovery looks like. Exactly that. You know what I mean? So I'm
yeah,
so happy
sir.
for you, man.
Thank you,
Shoot,
thank you.
I'll call you up after this. We can talk some more.
All right.
But anyway, so as we're winding down, I'll ask you a few questions. The first one is, you never really mentioned this, but how old were you when you first started drinking? Oh no, you did mention it a little bit.
Yeah, so I said my first drunk, I was 8, but when I really started drinking like on a regular basis, I was about 13.
Hmm. Okay, cool. Yeah, me, I started drinking, like, the first drunk, I was 13, but I was thinking about it one day, and I remember when I was a kid, I must have been like 5, and we were all in the car with one of my aunties, and she was drinking a Budweiser, and she let us take a sip of it, at the traffic light. I must have been like 5 years old or something like that, and I was like, "Ugh, I don't like the taste." In all the years I drank, for 20 years, in all the years of drinking, I never, ever, ever liked the taste of alcohol, ever. I always loved the effect that it produced for me, though. I love that. So I would get past the, oof, oof, you know what I mean? To get that effect.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, always. Okay. The next question is, when did it become a problem? And when did you realize that? Like, at what point in your life?
It had to be when 2015, when I was working at the group homes, when I was riding around with clients and stopping, leaving them in the car at the mall for me to go in the mall and steal stuff
Uh-huh.
for me to, and I was riding around drunk with clients in cars, and it was, I was like, I realized that, like, if I'm doing this and I can't stop, like, there's a problem.
Hmm.
And I mean, before then I kind of figured there's a problem, but I always thought that I could handle it. But at that point, 2015, I was 24 years old. That's when I realized that, like, I'm gonna be done unless I'm done.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I can really relate to that again as well. Because I was like right around, like, looking back when I got sober, I was looking back and trying to kind of pinpoint exactly what age I was, and was right around like 18, 19 years old, where I crossed that line into full blown drug addict and alcoholic. Prior to that, I just really had a substance abuse problem. There was no disease of addiction yet,
Mm,
and like from 18, 19 on, I got sober when I was 33. Once I started, I couldn't stop. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't. It was just absolutely, it literally was impossible. I have never, ever, in all the years drinking and using, did one drink, did one shot, did one hit, did one line. I never did just one, ever.
right.
And thinking about it, kind of even outside of drugs and alcohol, I never just did one of anything, kind of thing. Yeah, I never did. Okay. The next question is, what do you do in your recovery to maintain it?
All right. So I like I said in rehab, what I was trying to do, or what I was focusing on. I do holistic treatment. So
Okay.
my recovery is holistic. I drink a lot of teas.
Hmm.
I meditate. I do yoga. I work out. I focus on my nutrition. I try to eat properly to have my body regulated. I try to think right all the time. And people have or I tell people that I'm not in a 12-step program, but I do follow a lot of 12 steps. I mean, it's a way of living. you don't
Right.
have to be in the 12-step program in order for you to follow the steps, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, I read a lot of AA material. I read NA material. I read motivational thinking,
Yeah.
positive thinking. It's just anything to have my mind right. I
Right.
studied Buddhism last year. I've been studying all religions, and I just try to read avidly. I try to write avidly. Um, yeah, I just try to expand my mind and push my body to the limit. I work a lot on discipline. I'm to the
Mhm.
point where I wake up before my alarm clock. If I set my alarm clock for 7 o'clock, I'm gonna wake up at 10 minutes before that. If I
Yeah.
set it for 8, I'm gonna wake up 10 minutes before that. So
Mhm.
I'm on a really my body's in a really good place. My mind's in a really good place, and it helps. It works a lot.
We talked about this earlier before we went live. Because you're really fit, bro. You're a really fit guy, and like you said, you did that. You said you were like that, even actively drinking because you're an athlete and you was in the gym. Do
Yeah,
you think that helped you, like your body physically, because so much, pumping your body so much alcohol? Like
yeah.
honestly, that one I don't know. I figured like that's something I would ask you.
Or did the alcohol help me?
No, no. Did you
Oh,
being physically fit, like
yeah,
like
yeah.
what I mean? Because you're physically fit. So let's say you were like overweight, like that probably would have been way worse for you. Your liver and all this kind of
Oh,
stuff and
yeah,
things. Do you think like being in shape, being fit, helped kind of slow down the like the cirrhosis of the liver or any kind of health kind of problems you could have had?
yeah. No, I think it could have made it worse because I had less protection. Like the bigger you are, you have more like fat around your organs and stuff. So I felt like
Uh-huh.
my body had like no defense at all. It was just being because I was
Oh,
working out once in a while, but I was very malnourished. I was eating just pizza once in a while
okay.
and mozzarella sticks and stuff, But I would go
Yeah.
to the gym and try to make myself feel better. But see, that's the thing though. Like in my addiction, I always worked on things that I'm working on in my recovery. I always tried to think positive. I always tried to read positive affirmations and
Hmm.
motivational. I try to
Yeah.
learn the neuroscience of addiction and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I was always trying to gain a upper hand on it, but it was just like I said, I was hindered all the time.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, makes total sense, bro. Because me, I got sober in a 12-step program, but I mean, and I'm grateful for it. I'm still a part of my fellowship and everything. But like, there's things outside of that that has very much helped me. Because in 12-step program, I never learned how to manage my finances. I never learned how to eat healthy. I never learned how to exercise. I never necessarily learned how to have a good, healthy relationships with other people. My sponsor is not my dad. He's not my nutritionist, or he's my guide to help me walk me through the 12 steps. That's
Mhm.
it. So like you, like other sort of, I guess, motivational speakers, positive, anything positive, any kind of like, even like a sermon I've listened to, and I can, it'll help me. Anything that will help benefit my thinking, because I learned that, man, I didn't have a drinking problem. I had a thinking problem that manifested into a drinking problem and a drug problem and a sex problem, and an anger problem. I was like,
Yep.
oh, okay. I was like, man, it's a lot. It sounds like a lot of work, and it was, man. It was, you know but I can totally relate to you on that one. Even being a 12 stepper, like I understand that makes sense. Like, but you're the first person to actually say that I've gone live with about, you can utilize 12 step like principles, so to speak, but you don't have to necessarily be a part of it,
Right.
because like they're principles for a reason. You know what I mean? They work regardless if you 12 step, you're not, whatever. Like
Right.
recently, about a week or so ago, my wife, she is a normie. She doesn't really drink. She's never done drugs. But recently, about a week or so ago, she asked me to walk her through the 12 steps. Because since we were dating, she would come with me to meetings, and she's involved with everything, anything pro recovery power, recovery. She knows all about it. She's heard my story a gazillion times. She can probably tell it for me. And but so something that she's told me, that she can, even though she never had a problem with drugs and
Give me
alcohol, she
1 minute
can
on this.
relate. She can relate to that. She can relate to the feelings being shared, the things that we've done, and all these things. And so I said, oh, absolutely. Like I can definitely, take you to the 12 steps. But okay, here's the next question. Oh, okay. So you mentioned, your kids and the relationship you had, and it wasn't that good. You wasn't present and everything. So the next question is, how is your relationship with your kids today, being sober?
It's a lot better actually. So my daughter still lives in Arizona now.
Hmm.
She moved back and forth for a while, but now they're permanently out there. But I'm actually in a position to get her for long, extended periods of time now.
Hmm.
Whereas before, I wasn't responsible enough to keep her for a night without passing out and having her mother have to come pick her up.
Yeah.
So I get my daughter once or twice a year for a extended amount of time. And with my son, I'm with him on a regular basis. I have him 4 or 5 times, 6 times a week sometimes. We
Okay.
just got back from New Jersey actually last week. He had a NFL flag football tournament out there.
Hmm.
Like 2 weeks before that, we were in Philadelphia for one, and then maybe like a month and a half before that, we were in Maryland. So I'm like traveling down the East Coast with my son. We were in New Jersey playing football for Father's Day weekend. We went to. I'm just having a great time as a dad now. I'm
Right.
there. I'm able to financially provide. They're on insurance through me. I help out. I'm here. Like before, I was physically present, but
Yeah.
I wasn't there. I was
Oh,
always
I can
asleep or
relate. Yeah. Yeah.
it's great. My son, I talk to him on a regular basis. He's 10 years old. I talk to him about what I was going through before, and he understands that his father is an alcoholic. And sometimes I joke with him, like we'll be out, and I'm like, "Yo, let me get a beer." And he'll look at me like I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. But yeah. So it's great. I'm just happy that I'm able to do this. I wouldn't have been the person I am today if it wasn't for my addiction and my alcoholism. I'm way
Right.
stronger than I've ever would have been. I have way more wisdom than I ever would have had, and I have way
Mhm.
more insight into life. And I just
Mhm.
get to share that with my kids. I get to drop gems on them every time I'm with them, like things that they wouldn't hear from a regular parent. And
Right.
I I have all these slogans that correlate to life, and all these experiences that I had. I can speak from. I can't just I don't have to just tell my kids, don't drink, it's bad for you. There's people out there who are messed up because of it. I can say, look at me,
Mhm.
like your father was that. Remember when I was gone for this amount of time, when of that. So like, and my kids
Yeah.
remember, like, yeah, I remember that.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm a dad now,
Yeah.
and it's great. I
Yeah.
love
Hey,
it.
yeah. Happy belated Father's Day, by the way, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so happy for you, man. The
You as
relationship.
well.
Yeah. The relationship you got with your kids and everything. Because I have a son in Hawaii, and he's 16, and you know uh I mean, he full blown disease of addiction, growing up. And like, I would bring him with me, like I'll be, blasting lines in the car, and stuff, and we're driving home, and things like that. And it was just a terrible way of living, but I have a really good relationship with him today. Like, I shouldn't, but I do. It's amazing. And my son now, he's 9 months old with my wife. And I'm just so grateful that if I continue to do what I'm doing, he will never see me like out all night. He'll never see me. His mom got to hunt me down at the bar or at the trap house or somewhere. And he's never will have to experience that. Like you said, like, our presence didn't make us present. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Just because we're physically there. So happy for you, bro. Right on, man. That's awesome. Okay, and then the next question is, what are your long-term goals in recovery?
Okay, so I've had goals and I've already accomplished some of them. Like I published a book, and I do want to publish. I plan on writing a lot more in the future.
Hmm.
I just actually started a graphic addiction novel that
Hmm.
it's probably gonna be like 2 years, but I got
Yeah.
like 10 pages in right now, so it's
Uh,
looking good. I do want to do some real estate investing. I've
mhm.
already studied a bunch of that, so I kind of know exactly what I want to do with it. I'm just waiting to have the funds and everything. Eventually, I want to. I got. I came up with so much in rehab. I got a clothing line that I want to start, a fitness
Uh-huh.
clothing line I want to start. I want to open up a wellness center.
Hmm.
I want to get my counseling certificate in drug addiction, which my job is going to help me do that as well. And
Hmm.
I don't know. I just want to reach a lot of people and be able to help as
Yeah.
many people as possible. I want to be able to walk somewhere and somebody. I already get it now, which is great, but I just want like so many more people to come to me. Like, if I read this and it helped save my life, or I heard you say this, or you did
Yeah.
this, and that's it. I just want to reach
Yeah.
people. Like, as long as I'm happy and I have the things I need. I don't need the things that I want. You know.
Right.
I just want the things that I need, and I just want to be able to help people. I want somebody to say, "Your story saved my life."
Right. Yeah. Oh, I get down, bro. Definitely. And you're a really good example. Honestly, you're a good example for somebody to follow. Like, hearing what you were like, the things you did, what happened to you, what you like today. It's amazing how active in addiction, it's all me, 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 me. But like, since you've been talking about your recovery, it's like, I want to help people. I want to do it. Da, 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 da. It's all about other people. It becomes about others now. And
Yeah.
then, that's the thinking that change, that like entire psychic change that people talk about. But before I let you go, the last question I would like to ask you is that what would you say to somebody to encourage them that's struggling right now, that wants to get sober, that wants to stay sober?
Hmm. Feel it.
Mm,
You gotta feel that struggle, because that's what's gonna make you stronger. Don't try
mm,
to run from it, because running from it is what you've done
mm-hmm.
throughout your whole addiction.
Yeah.
You have to get that void off. Go to treatment. You need to get away from the substance in order for you to work on what's really troubling you.
Yeah. No, absolutely, bro. You talked about feelings and, getting sober. You get your feelings back. And that's the good news. And the bad news is you get your
You get your
feelings back.
feelings back.
Yeah. you know? And it's like now we got to learn how to cope with life when we have all these emotions that we were suppressing with drugs and alcohol for years or for however long somebody was doing it. And, treatment is a great tool, man. Like, to
Yeah.
learn and how, 12-step culture it taught me a lot as well. But definitely being not being ignorant to what can help and seeking out help.
Right.
I think, in my opinion, that stops people, because it stopped me, by the way, from getting better and seeking help, because I never got sober by confessing and telling somebody I have a problem. Hey, can you help me? Psh, I have way too much pride. I made a
Mm.
decision. Hey, I'm gonna die from it, or I'm gonna die with it. That's it. Nobody's gonna know, because I kept my drug use a secret from my immediate family for 20 years. Everybody
Yeah.
knew I drank, but I was like, no, like nobody can know, nobody can know. And then eventually I got caught. Moved to
Mm.
California. I got caught by my sister, and I'm so grateful for that, because if that didn't happen, I would not be here today. If I would have
Right.
got away with it, I would have still been out there. I don't know. They say jails, institutions of death. I don't know, but I do know that God had a plan for me, and it's to carry this message. I have this assignment to do this, and like that calling that you talked about. You got this calling on your life now to go out and reach other people, help other people, bro. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm all about that, man. Today, it was used to be all about me. What can I get? How can I benefit? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
But
the purpose of my book actually answers that question too. My purpose of the book was to show people that recovery isn't easy,
mhm,
but it's better.
yeah,
It's easier. No, it's not easy, but it's easier to deal with.
no,
It makes life easier to deal with, and that's it. You're struggling now, but it's just gonna make you stronger in the end. And just get through it. Feel those emotions, feel those feelings, like you said,
yeah.
because you actually feel them now. And whenever anything bad happens, I just try to remember that something good's gonna come after that. And the longer the bad situation, the better what's gonna come at the end.
Absolutely, bro. Yeah. Hey, well, I appreciate your time, bro. I know you're at work technically too still, but thank you so much, man. I'll reach out to you after this, and we can. Well, I'm not gonna call you. I know you're working. I'll shoot you a text or something, and I would love to stay connected to you, bro. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And
Well, you
I
have a
should
good
be on
day.
the West Coast at some point in the next
Oh,
year or two. So,
okay. All right. Perfect.
all
Hit
right.
me up.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Take it
brother.
easy. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, guys. So that was a short story. Look, if you have a story to tell, nobody has a story to tell, please reach out to me and we can make that happen. I'm filling up my calendar. A lot of it is full for July already. But if you have a story to tell, please reach out to me and then we can make this happen. Thank you guys so much for all you guys love and continued support for Pro Recovery Power. You guys are making a difference. Thank you. Have a good weekend.